solo traveler here. Little thunder, it's raining, and I am going on a train ride. Well, today is the Tennessee Valley Railroad and Museum. I'm just taking a short trip today because their long one is only on the weekends and I'll be gone by then. So yeah, this is the one all day. Or actually, yeah, look, it's these two. The Chickamauga and the Somerville. All day trips. Boy, I really want to do those. They only run on the weekends. I kind of schedule my trip wrong. Ooh, 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 ooh. Man, I just...
Let's relive it. I really would like Yeah, I need to get her to teach me. Yeah, Mama makes me
But I didn't. There it is. I was wondering where that went.
I probably need that.
Okay, so these are.
Well, it's not going to be easy keeping this lens dry. But I guess that's all part of traveling. So, they got this little path here. There's a train down here that they're... Whoa, it's coming down good. Well, this is kind of cool. These are called arch bar trucks. These were used in the 1955 Disney movie, The Great Locomotive Chase, which was filmed right here on this railway. For a crash scene, they built boxcars on these trucks. After the filming, the boxcars were just left in the ravine to decay. But these trucks were donated to the museum here in 2023. Wow, this is something. This is the era of train travel that I wish I'd had the opportunity to experience. Look at this, look how beautiful, this is what they served meals on. I was in the museum talking to the young lady there when I saw the train pulling into the depot. Thank you.
Tour guide and his sword for a journey back in time here today. As we depart Grand Junction, we do want to make it known to you we're what is known as a historic railroad, not a scenic railroad, which means we're focusing on the history of the train that we're traveling on and the history of the railroad that we're traveling on more than the surrounding area. I also want to make it known to you as you depart Grand Junction, you're leaving the depot that is not original to this area. Originally being built in the 1980s as a replica station, being based off the depot that stands in the state of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Anyways, my friends, we make our way from Grand Junction here today. We disembark on about a 1 hour round trip experience, getting on one of the oldest railroads that's laid down to reach the city of Chattanooga from Knoxville, Tennessee. And this railroad that we're traveling over here today was in active service from 1859 until 1954, until then being abandoned by the Southern Railway, replaced by the double track main line that you see above us over there on the right side of the train. That is actually part of the modern day Norfolk Southern Corporation that also runs from Knoxville to Chattanooga, that corridor up there, and once again would be replacement for tracks that we're traveling on. But believe it or not, this is not the original right-of-way of the East Tennessee Georgia Railroad. If you look over there on the left side of the train, you'll see a gravel road that is just slightly below us. That is where the original tracks used to lay from 1859 until the year 1906. You may also take note of the bridge pillars that rise up out of the waters down there. That is part of the 1880s bridge span. The original bridge span was a stone arch bridge that would have been there on the left side of the train, but it did get washed away in the Great Flood, and ironically, a train actually crashed to the creek back there as well. let's just say that train and its crew went for a very long swim. You may notice that it connects to a much more larger system down there, and you see it over there on the right side of the train. That being part of the Western Atlantic subdivision that is leased to CSX Transportation. They do not own the line down there, they just operate on it, actually being leased in from the state of Georgia, from Atlanta to Chattanooga, Tennessee. But believe it or not, that is the very first railroad down there. They've been very gracious enough to let us borrow their track and store some of our vintage pieces of American Road equipment. And everything you can see before you there today, that branches off from the stainless steel cars going back to the warehouse right here. We had to couple all of it and move it out and just put that one boxcar in. So that was kind of a fun task. I say it very dramatically.
Thank you. And now, rain has stopped. It's a beautiful day.
Where I am now is not original. This would not have been here 70 to 80 years ago or whatever. But anyways, that old right-of-way of the that went from Knoxville to Chattanooga under the Southern Railway's control until its end in 1954, we actually traveled behind y'all in the tree line. You may notice that cut through the tree line going over there, and that is actually part of the old Southern Railway's High Line that did make a gravel descent to downtown Chattanooga, connecting up to the big yard down there, some industries located down there that way, and also connected up to Terminal Station. It served as Chattanooga, Tennessee's largest operating passenger terminal from December of 1909 to August of 1970. Terminal Station is still standing to this day, but is now known as a very well-renowned hotel, now called the Chattanooga Choo Choo, that I'm sure some of you have either heard of or have even stayed at, and of course also named a very popular song recorded in the 1940s and so forth. But instead of focusing on that, we're going to focus on preparing for the return trip. That's going to be with the help of this turntable here. Like I said, it was built in 1916, almost 15 years ago. Or no, excuse me. Well, I'm trying to remember my math right here. 110 years ago. Excuse me. 110 years ago, built by the American Bridge Company of Fairbanks, Pennsylvania. Originally fabricated in the golden age of American railroading, or the days of the steam engines, as an Armstrong turntable. Anyways, I'm gonna get down here on my end. That way our locomotive come on board, and then we'll go from here. And just like that, I do hear over our radio here that he's given our engineers permission to bring 710 on board. So 710 is going to start creeping down my way, and just keep watching down there on his end, and you'll see the turntable drop. Now, do not be alarmed by that. That's not the engine coming off the tracks. This is the way of getting on to the top of the table here. Kind of stretch its legs a little bit. And just like that, there's the drop. So once again, like I said, 710's going to continue my direction. Let's go like we do now. So we'll spin around the table at 180 degrees. Line up for track number 2, where they can run down through the yard and get onto the main line, throw a switch, and reverse back onto track 1, get coupled up to our coaches. That way they can pull us back to Grand Junction. And there's the drop. So I've already done the introduce you of myself, one of our assistant conductors down there, Mr. Jack. This gentleman that we see up here in the cab is engineer, Mr. Jim up there. He's the one that's running the locomotive back and forth all the railroad here today. Our lead conductor here is up there in the cab with him on the other side. That is being Mr. Travis, who I believe along with Mr. Jack is going to take it down through the yard and get coupled up here in just a bit. But let me not forget the locomotive. This is Nashville, Chattanooga, St. Louis, number 710. This first generation diesel electric locomotive was built way back in 1950 by the Electromotive Division of General Motors. And yes, you remember right, the same GM that manufactures automobiles is the same ones that had built this engine way back in 1950. First build was known as a GP7, and eventually gone to rebuild into a GP9. GP in its name stands for general purpose, which means it could be used for a little bit of everything. Of course, it could be used to switch out coaches with freight cars in yards and industries and terminals. It can be used to haul freight trains as a road freight locomotive, and it can even haul passenger trains like it's doing here today, so very utilitarian design. This also was known as a high hood. You notice the nose on this thing says way up high in the air, hence the name high hood. Now this locomotive has had some of a very unusual scattered career as it went through 3 different owners, so to be the Louisville, Nashville, and Amtrak companies. But would you believe me if I was to tell you this locomotive was actually involved in a head-on collision in the 1970s, which caused this thing to be sold to a scrap dealer. Of course, that collision happened right outside of Birmingham, Alabama. But it only sat for just a little while, for a few years, until Amtrak, I believe, got in 1978, and they brought back up to operational standards and ran maintenance voice service until the early 2000s. Eventually, with time, it wound up was here at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, where it was restored back to operational condition. And how you see right now is how it would have repaired in the 1950s. Anyways, just like that, we're now lined up, so they're going to get ready to run down to the yard and get coupled up. Now, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the tour is not over just yet. They are going to continue on here from we're going to go a different direction. You're more welcome to head back to the train at this time, but for those who are curious about the parts of the tour, just stay right behind me, please. Stay right behind me, and then we will continue on to the back shop. Please continue to stay on the walking path. Do not wander off to the yard, okay? Now here at Tennessee Valley Railroad, we have 2 major goals. Number 1, that's to preserve the history and the legacy of the golden age of American railroading. But the other goal is to preserve the pieces from that time frame and run and restore them and use them as an example of a bygone era from that golden age. One of the pieces from that golden age is right here behind me. This is the Southern Railway number 4501. She is a G-line authentic coal burning steam locomotive, one of 6 steam engines that we have. But she is the only one operational at this time. You heard me right, this thing does run. And as of October this year, she will be 115 years of age, being built in 1911 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And when fully loaded, this engine comes in at 216 tons. And you may be wondering the reason why she looks like what she does right now. That's because she's here and she'll just be repainted. But she'll be running again very, very soon for us here. Just like that, we are now arriving back at Grand Junction. But like I said, our journey is not over yet. We do got to spin our train around just one more time on the railroads wide. Once again, it'll just be a 3-point turn for a train. There where we can pull back up to the Grand Junction Depot platform, and then we'll disembark off the train. But since we're back, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to personally thank each and every single one of you for coming to ride with us here today at Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. I hope you be sure to come out visit out throughout the years. We do offer more runs and events besides the Missionary Local. For example, if you want a true high-class dining car experience, that is our Dinner on the Diner, our dinner train that runs through Polk Street in downtown Chattanooga and return, about a 2.5-hour round-trip excursion where you'll eat and dine authentic dining cars spanning from the 1920s going all the way up through the 1950s. A very high-class experience that you can check out online. And of course, may not forget our Georgia-bound excursions as well, such as the Chattanooga turn. That's about a 6.5-hour round-trip excursion to, down there and return. And of course, it's powered by one of our diesels. And then may not forget the Somerville Steam Special, an all-day 9-hour round-trip excursion that departs Grand Junction, runs through Somerville, Georgia, and return, powered by the Southern Railway 4501. The steam engine you saw in the shop just moments ago, and she'll be doing that toward the end of this month through towards the end of the fall of this year.
Well, that was great, and the weather sure cooperated. It's actually getting really warm. It's beautiful. I definitely have to come back and do those longer rides. So there's another trip to Chattanooga in my future. And that's it for today. Solo Traveler.